What's going on, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Texas Steel Podcast. I'm Pierce Trexler, joined always by my boy, Drake Greenstein, recapping a Week 3 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers, coming into Acrisure, handling business. Baby, does this feel like the game that Steelers Nation was thirsting, thriving, and needing for in this time of year, man? Happy to start the season 3-0, baby. How we feeling, Drake?
Glorious. When's the last time, like you said last episode, bro? I just want to, I'll clip back to it. I just want to be able to watch a game and kick my feet back up in the fourth quarter. Boy, were we able to do that, bro. Oh my gosh, it feels good. Still undefeated.
Hey, you already know the vibes. We up in Pittsburgh, man. Obviously, I've got some friends hitting me up on text, and when that happens, man, you either know you're doing something really good or really bad in the NFL. And so obviously, glad to be on the better end of that spectrum. But man, just across the board, what a sensational game. This defense continuing to prove that they are the best in the league. And our offense, man, we got a lot of moving parts. Justin Fields, key role players, everyone's making a difference. How you want to start things off here?
Well, man, first thing I want to start off is what was the main question we asked ourselves last episode? The big two questions were, this is a learning game for both the Chargers and the Steelers, because both kind of had not lay-me-downs, but
Similar front end of the
a moderate
first two
opponent
games.
and then kind of a pushover.
Yeah.
So this was the first time.
But hey, look at what the Broncos did today.
Straight
I mean,
up.
I don't know. Each game coming off. Sorry to interrupt your point, but
Any given Sunday.
Each of the games following the ones of the opponents that we beat. Falcons bouncing back, beating Atlanta. Falcons bouncing back, beating the Eagles was sensational to see, as well as Denver going out and lighting it up today against the Bucks. So obviously felt good, but continue. Sorry to cut it off.
I mean, so if you ask me what did we learn today, we're going to get really specific. I got a lot of notes here, but what did we learn generally as a consensus for this team? I say we are a good football team.
I agree.
I think you can just plainly say the Pittsburgh Steelers are a good football team, because I was thinking about this at halftime. Well, actually, a little bit past halftime when the offense really started picking up.
Yeah.
And I started to think, because I have my sister, she doesn't watch much football. I got, my wife who doesn't watch the most football, but they're out here saying, man, this is a fun game to watch. Can you think back in the last 4 years in which we actually entertained the general viewer?
It's honestly been a minute. And like you said, obviously, last episode, getting the slate call that we had with Tony Romo calling the game, they're trying to put some
here
of
in
these
the
more vested guys
first
out there.
time that Tony Romo was in Pittsburgh for a game since 2021.
Crazy. And again, obviously, it feels good to live up to that. It's like when you get flexed into prime time and take care of business. I mean, it just feels so good to get this win. And again, we got a lot of stuff to dive into, but man, the Chargers, as we were saying earlier, coming into this game, were showing to be another powerhouse, high scoring offense, really good potential. But to be able to go out there, handle business the way we did on defense and light it up and answer on offense. I know I said last video, Justin, we're winning in spite of you. We won because of Justin this game. And I told Drake at church this morning beforehand, we weren't able to watch this game together. I went to go catch it at my bro's place. But I told Drake, I said, as I was leaving, Justin Fields is going to rush for a touchdown today. And
What'd I say?
And he said...
I said he's probably going to have an interception, but multiple tutties.
Yes. And that interception wasn't
even his
fault. That was just a crazy... It got batted 30 times and just so happened to fall. But again...
to Bud Dupree of all people.
But it was good to see the defense go out there. My brother said as soon as it happened, he's like, it's fine. Defense going to take care of business. And what did they do? They went out and took care of business. And limited the Chargers, a high-power offense, to 10 points. Granted, Justin Herbert did get hurt later in the third quarter, but again, knowing the way that the momentum of the game was riding, we had that game in control virtually from start to finish. But
I'd say it was like even throughout the first quarter and a half. And then I say the latter half of the second quarter. Yeah, we started to impose our will.
And one more thing, again, I think this goes overshadowed. Obviously, we like putting players into the spotlight, but just would like to give a quick round of applause for Mike Tomlin, man. Obviously, we have a lot of games as of the past few years that we accredit to Tomlin losses, but again, continuing to stack up these Tomlin wins, coming better prepared over a coach that has high pedigree, everyone knows about it, and still being able to stand on business and do so defiantly, man. just feels good. This is
Yes.
a good feeling win. I feel confident, and I feel confident that we can beat these higher opposing juggernaut teams in the NFL. What I saw today makes me feel like we can hang with the Chiefs,
When's the last
Bills,
time you felt
anybody,
this good
bro.
about a win?
Seriously. It's been a minute, and like I
Yeah.
said, we've been thirsty for it, but here we
Man.
are. 3-0 feels great. Let's get into some of these talking points.
I mean, obviously, we'll get into some of these talking points. First thing to keep in mind, couple bumps and bruises along the way. Alex Highsmith out with the groin. One of our corners, was it Dante Jackson?
Dante Jackson had that shoulder or something. He was holding his
Dante
shoulder
or Corey
too.
Trice, one of them too, out with a hamstring. They were out for the rest of the game. Then Van Jefferson entered and exited with an eye injury, but that shouldn't be serious. But now that that's out of the way, one thing I want to cover is you talk about the big theme those first two games was controlling the tempo, but just not resulting in points due to penalties. Tomlin, you know what he did? He brought in referees into our practices and had referees that were trigger happy start throwing really ticky-tacky fouls
That's great.
in the practice. What did that result into? 3 penalties for only 15 yards.
Awesome.
How about that?
Awesome. And you look at what happened. Honestly, the first 2 games, penalties killed not just drives in the Denver game, but we think back to the Atlanta week as well. So to have a clean, cohesive game, I mean, you see how many penalties killed the Chargers in this instance. So, I mean, it's great to be on the opposite side of that spectrum. So shout out the O-line, tighten it up when we can. I guess while we're diving into it, let's just start with giving some flowers across the team, man. Broderick Jones, shout out, coming up on here. Obviously, Troy Fatano, unfortunately, is suffering what you were saying might be a season-ending injury, depending on the way things
He's been placed on IR, so the only thing that we do know, we're not going to see him for another 4 weeks. But
Broderick, the way he showed out and played in this game, I obviously think stepped up to the occasion. As across the board, Zach Frazier had an incredible game, providing holes. There was a Najee Harris run where he got 12 to 15 up it, and somehow, way or another, Zach Frazier was leading the charge and fell an extra yard in front of Najee. That just goes to show he is blowing up and lighting these holes that are in front of him.
Tony Romo says he's already going to be maybe a Pro Bowler this year.
Hey, I would love to see it. I mean, again, that's another great lottery hit with the draft. And, I mean, shout out Omar Khan with that yet again. But very good to see the trenches. Just like you said, we needed to come in and impose our will. And I think out of the 2 sides, we were the one that was, like Tomlin says, pressure is consistent. You're either applying it or you're feeling it. We were applying pressure today, baby.
And you know what I loved, what I saw from this team too, was one thing that we also mentioned last episode, now that I come to think of it, is throughout those first 2 games, we stuck to script. We had the lead. We didn't have to deviate from it. But what happened in this game?
We're down
early, 7-0.
7 early.
Okay, what do you have, Justin?
And quick.
What does this offense have in him? We went right down the field, scored a tutty, tied that thing back up. Exactly. I love that out
And
there.
again, another thing, looking as how we closed out the first half, I thought obviously play calls were good. The offense was moving the ball. But the way we adapted and opened things up in the second half, man, it's just so refreshing to see trial and error be addressed within a timely manner, whereas last season it would have taken us 6 to 7 games to figure this out and make the adjustments. So just to see that Arthur Smith, Tomlin, again, the whole coaching staff as a whole is just making the proper adjustments to keep us in positions to not only get ahead in games, but keep the foot on the gas. And I thought he did so exceptionally today.
Love that. One thing, I mean, big key. I knew going in, it's a home opener. The crowd's juiced. George Pickens was fielding double coverage all game.
Majority of the time.
Who was going to be the guy? We said role players are going to step
with
up
Roman
at
Wilson
home.
out, even more question marks.
Roman Wilson fully practiced, folks, and literally didn't see a single. He was ruled do not play. Did not play. Didn't see the field once. And I told you, man, we are going to see a role player step up. That's just the lay of the land when it comes to these home games. And, man, I put down Scotty Miller. I was jotting down in my notes because Scotty Miller had that crazy third down conversion. Had that little hezzy that resulted in a face mask.
There was a couple of big catches Scotty's way, but I think we'd all be mistaken if we didn't give it.
1, 2, 3, Calvin Austin
the third, baby. We are so appreciative of his efforts because you can only imagine from his perspective. You know he's hearing all the projections that are done. Steelers don't have a wide receiver too, and he's been trying to obviously work back from that injury he had that set him back early in his career. But to be in this position and to have these opportunities, man, you could not ask for a better game for Calvin Austin to boost his confidence going into future games, but also the utilization. I mean, these slants across the middle, boom, takes the top off the stadium and takes it for, what was that, 60, 70-yard tutty?
Yes. We've been waiting for him to actually utilize his speed in the open field.
Hasn't been since that one pass from Kenny in the Raiders,
against the Raiders
game way back when. But again, it's so refreshing. He finished with, I think, 3 or 4 catches, 95 yards in a tud. So, and he also had another. It didn't result in points. It was on Boz's missed field goal, but he had a sensational, really good grab on the sideline, pulled it in to get us into field goal range. So, definitely think he stepped up. Continuing with these star-studded casts that kind of rise to the occasion, Cordero Patterson, baby, coming
love
out,
to see
running
that.
angrily, getting a few yards, 10+ chunks at it. Like you said, man, these key role players, when in the NBA playoffs, you look and you're like, this guy ain't shooting a 3, and he's over here dancing. It's like our guys were dancing today, and it was just very, very rewarding to see that. We look at time of possession of this game. Obviously, the turnover battle. Justin Fields had that one iffy interception again that totally wasn't on him. The ball got batted 30 different times. It was bound to fall down in someone's hands. We just lost that coin flip. But we look at the time of possession, 26 minutes Chargers to 34 minutes us. We completely owned the clock, eight down. And again, after the first 2 weeks, I was just thinking that this might not be sustainable. But to see us answer and not be penalized and be able to actually capitalize on these opportunities, this formula of play and this kind of outcome,
is sustainable.
This is sustainable, and I'd say fruitful. I think we can thrive with this. Matching up with the Kansas City Chiefs and all of those other juggernauts of the NFL, I think we can hang with anyone. Now, Justin, let's continue to hone in. Don't keep the foot off the pedal, and obviously, I just love to see growth, and we're still getting better through growth. And I still feel like there's more meat on the bone.
There
with
still
this.
is, man.
Just very, again, I can't say it enough. This win does so much for Steelers Nation.
Obviously, we spoke to a general sense. This team is a good football team. Offense is clicking now. Defense is always what it is, elite. But now let's go even more granular to the guy that's running the show, because it goes without saying, Justin, he ain't losing that quarterback spot now.
Yeah, Russ, I'm sorry to say it, but again,
I'm empathetic, but at this point, you'd be a fool to give the reins to anyone else at this point.
And this is the game that I think a lot of Steeler Nation, especially divided Steeler Nation, we're kind of laying. Me, myself, again, I got to maybe bite some words of what I said last pod, but again, I was just waiting for this game, and to finally have it, Justin's our guy moving forward, not just this season, I think into the next decade.
And you said it so well. We said last week, all right, Justin, you have not lost us a game.
Go win.
But let's go win it. And looking at the
stat line right here, we look at Justin Herbert, 12 for 18 for $125. Justin Fields, we got 25 for 32, 245, an interception, a touchdown, and a rushing touchdown himself. I would be curious to see how many Justin had on the ground. I don't know if I can get that here.
Here, I'll pull up the passing chart. Look at this. I mean, we were talking about, okay, the Steelers aren't utilizing the middle of the field. Look at this.
Pat Muth coming up with a couple of big catches.
Look at this passing chart here. I'm pulling up here.
Incredible. We'll drop it on the screen. But literally, there's a check across every little spot on the field.
Look at this.
Completely opened it up.
Yes.
Muth came up with a few over the middle. Calvin Austin had another over the middle that inevitably took the top off, ran it up for about 60, 70-yard tutty. Very, very good to see. And then again, Najee Harris, I don't know those who kept up. If it weren't for some of those stupid botched misplays in the beginning of the half, he would have had over 100 today. He finishes with 70 on the ground, over 18 carries. But, man, he just really turned a gear. Wish he could have punched it in for that touchdown, but we were able to close in victory formation. We could have ran this score up even more if time wasn't a factor, or if we were just really battling for it. We could have definitely continued to keep our foot on the throat. But
hey, and let's not forget, folks, I want you to go back to our last YouTube video. We garnered a couple of views. You know what we really got? We got Chargers fans up in our mentions saying, y'all going to get blown out. No, people are watching this game because of Harbaugh. Justin Herbert is going to own Fields. Boy, whoo.
You know what we got to say
We got the
about
receipts.
that?
We got the receipts.
Hit them with the Mike Tomlin. Blow a kiss, send them on their way, and we won't see y'all in playoffs. So enjoy everything you got coming to you. Unfortunately, though, was sad to see Herbert go down. I think Joey Bosa got knocked up a little earlier
on the first
too.
play.
So unfortunate to see. Obviously, don't stand with anything. I still think they're a great football team, and that's only the reason why we're feeling so juiced after this victory, because we did so in a dominant fashion. Not really 1 point into that game, even though I don't think we were down at halftime, but just at halftime.
10-7, 10-7.
Again,
but
we were
still
down.
felt
We were down
comfortable.
against Atlanta at half. I think we were down against Denver at half. Like I
Yeah.
never felt like we weren't out of this
Yes.
game. There's two halves for every reason, and I was happy to see us close out on a positive note.
Yep.
But again, couple names on defense. We had some bumps and bruises along the way, but I think we can get into the conversation of saying Joey Porter Jr. is an elite defensive back in the
Yes,
NFL.
very.
Not just with his coverage ability, but coming in and making some big time tackles.
And that was his struggle, man. Rookie year,
holding on, being able to bring
they
him down.
said, he was struggling with tackling. That was his biggest flaw, getting drafted, and especially he was seeing some growing pains last season with tackling. But couple great tackles in the backfield, made a lot of great plays. One thing that Charger fans were saying when it came to the defensive to their O-line matchup, they were saying, yo, Joe Alt, he handled Max Crosby. He handled this.
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby ain't no TJ
Ain't no
Watt.
TJ Watt.
All right. The first 1v1 matchup of the game. First 1v1.
Welcome to the NFL.
Welcome to the NFL. Holding call.
Yeah.
TJ clearly blows by him, gets him with that little neck pull. Boom. Done. Holding call. So the rest of the game, they kept chipping him. They were giving Joe Alt.
Sending two
Yeah, they
on
were
him.
sending
Yeah,
two
sending
on
him
Joe
help.
Alt.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. He was not able to hold his own. Because then another one-on-one. The only, TJ probably got 2, maybe 3 one-on-ones,
Oh, yeah.
actually.
And
without
he
a chip.
capitalized on
And he
getting the
capitalized
sack
on
on-
each and
yeah,
every
yeah.
one.
I mean,
so, yes. Welcome to the NFL, Joe
and
Alt.
again, we've said it time and time again. The best player on planet Earth plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes,
and,
sir.
And his name is TJ Watt. So exceptional play from the defense. He came up, made a big sack right as when we needed it to. Didn't get the turnover we needed in this game, but obviously losing the turnover battle but still winning the game only goes to show that you had to have taken care of business in every other aspect of the ball game. So super happy to see that. Continuing to move on, looking like who else? We had kind of everything go our way.
I got one thing, though. You mind if I bring this up?
Yeah, hit it in.
So really, a lot of positives to take away. Two of the things that I think that we could see as a room for improvement is, look, I love Najee Harris. I completely love that he's our primary back. But one thing that I think that goes into consideration is only 3 carries for Warren. Now, is he either injured? Because I just think you look in the fourth quarter, what made Cordell Patterson kind of effective that he hit the hole so fast?
Yeah, he was
We had a
fresh.
bruiser, and then he was fresh.
Yeah.
And, I just – look, I love Najee, and this isn't to downgrade his performance today, but 3 carries for Warren, I mean, it just kind of made my eyes go, wow, really? I think he could be due a couple more. I think Warren is a guy that just makes positive plays happen.
For sure. I think maybe the injury to his hamstring is a little bit more severe than they initially led on.
I think so.
I do think we know how much we are desperately going to need him in the season stretch when we hit that gauntlet come after the bye week.
Yep.
So I think we're kind of preserving him, and obviously we're showing we can still win. When you see Cordell Patterson blowing it up for a 15-yard gain, seeing that as your third string back just gives you nothing but juice and confidence moving forward. So knowing that we got another lightning to our thunder already in the box, and he's just nursed that one.
An ace in the back pocket.
And this ain't a Russell Wilson nurse that one. This is a Jalen Warren. You are literally, truth be told, he was our offense last year.
Yeah.
So to know that this guy still hasn't even been unleashed to his full potential, I think he is just kind of bearing that injury. Once he gets fully healthy and is able to show that he can sustain, we're going to unhitch the trailer and let him fully cook. Because, with those 3 backs in the room, man, we're going to have a dangerous running attack. So
But from an offensive scheme standpoint, man, I other than that, I liked a lot of what we did, almost if not everything. Aside from there was that stretch in the late second, early third quarter where the momentum had clearly shifted.
Yes.
We were obviously taking control of the game, and I thought we were due for a shot. And then, we started to make our way down the field, and we had that ugly toss play to Najee after like a 2nd and 12.
And why is that the back
Matt
getting
Canada-esque.
the ball? Why is that the back that gets that?
Yeah.
No, I
It was
agree.
just, I felt like at some points in the game there was a select plays, not a lot. Like I don't think, I thought Arthur Smith called a good game, but I thought there was some untimely calls where I was like, come on, like we got to keep the foot on the pedal foot on the gas pedal. I thought it was kind of Matt Canada-esque, that slow developing toss play that just was like, what are we doing? What is that?
One thing I will touch on just there, though, it is good and refreshing to see in an offense where you actually go into a third, maybe manageable, maybe long, and you think we actually got a shot.
Yes.
Because I tell you, last year, anytime that we would not pick up move the chains after a second down. I mean, if we get to 3rd and 8, I mean, you might as well just punt there. Like, so it's just
that's how it was, bro.
It's crazy and refreshing to see. I mean, we had several 3rd and 10 plus conversions, which is just so
huge.
I mean, when has this happened? And again, I sound like crazy. You would think this is normal NFL. You should be able to put this together. But as a starved Steeler fan, I mean, we haven't had this in the better part of 5 years. So very rewarding. As you can tell, man, just vibes are up. We've been needing a win like this. But before we get in to close this plane and figure it all out, I just wanted to go over AFC across the board. Unfortunately, it looks like Ravens are securing that dub against the Cowboys, but we'll see what the Bengals entail later tomorrow night. But we got the Texans
Did Cleveland
going
lose?
down. Cleveland lost. So, again,
1-2.
everything that we need to continue to propel us up. I think the Colts, unfortunately, got a dub, but I think that helps better our chance. You don't want to go into a house that's 0-3, absolute desperate dog with their back to the wall. So I'm kind of okay with them getting that. I still think that we can definitely take care of business next week, but you look across the AFC, man, all these teams keep falling and we keep rising. It's good. It's early, but I'd rather be off to a hot start than a not hot start.
I know.
So, anything else you want to tap into before we close on out?
No, let's get greedy. Let's continue to pile up these wins, because the latter half of this schedule is going to be a gauntlet, and this is where we need to take advantage of some of these, lower Giants, Commanders,
absolutely,
so on and so forth.
Ties on back, Tomlin. Thank you. I know a lot of Steelers Nation can sometimes be divided amongst you, as does myself in some degrees. But man, you really have come to hit this season hard, and the fans across the board really do appreciate it. Let's keep this locker room locked in as we head into Week 4 against the Colts in Indy. 3 of the first 4 games on the road, but man, it's been shown that we can manage in any circumstance and terrain. So on to Indy. Let's hit you guys with a recap here, and then pop into the preview for next week. Maybe sometime Wednesday, Thursday. We'll have that one out for you guys, and keep the vibes up in Pittsburgh. Let's go into a nice, glorious victory Monday. And until next time, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.